My hands shook as I buried them deeper into the folds of my borrowed coat. Fingers curled tightly enough to cut crescent moons into my palms. The yellowed light of San Martin Parish Hall reflected in scuffed linoleum, trembling with the echo of voices bouncing off every wall. I stood in front of 4 rows of metal chairs, packed with neighbors, a dozen aunts and uncles, half the congregation from Sunday Mass, Father Pablo at the end with a line of furrowed brows. My mother sat up front, lips a straight edge, her eyes darting from me to the parishioners and back. My father's hand gripped her shoulder. He avoided my gaze. "And you want us to believe, Sofia, Señor Almada, gray suit, slicked side part, president of the barrio committee, spat each word, that you'll go off to Paris, a seamstress's daughter from La Paternal, and come back a designer?" My hand floated to the packet of sketches pressed against my stomach. A sad clutch of dreams smudged at the corners. The room, thick with the burned sugar smell from last night's leftover churros, wavered like heat. I tried to speak, but someone snorted. Maybe it was Leandro, my cousin, always cruel when he could find an audience. "Let her do it," a young voice piped up. Rosita. But her mother, Aunt Nieves, nudged her silent. I cleared my throat. I have worked for Madame Reina." At the mention of Reina's atelier, some of the old women tittered. "She says I can." "Madame Reina pays you to sweep the floor and scrub the hems," interrupted Señora Almada. "That's honest work. These delusions are not." "They are not delusions," I flared, surprising myself and them. For a moment, a small heat lifted inside me. "I draft my own patterns. I sew late every night. Madame says there's a contest in Paris. Entries from all over the world. She told me to send mine." A wave of laughter crashed into me from the back. Chairs scraped. Even Father Pablo spared one dry chuckle. It was a storm that battered my shoulders, crushing the feeble sparks left inside. My mother stood. Not to defend me, to explain me. "Or Sofia, she's creative. We all have things we must grow out of." I told her maybe she can study, but she must stay and help her family. My ears thudded with blood. The taunts, the heavy certainty of my insignificance, painted every face with pity and derision. "She'll come home pregnant, not with prizes," hissed a voice. Father Pablo steepled his hands. "We must not encourage vanity, Sofia. Accept God's path for you." I ran, boots slapping tile, sketches crumpling through the sticky December heat. The last thing I heard as the door slammed was my uncle's voice. Just a dreamer, nothing more. Years smudged past like charcoal rain. Paris achingly cold, then sweet with lilac and cigarette smoke, pulled me from one cramped room to the next, sewing where they would let me, scribbling in the battered notebook I'd brought from Buenos Aires. I was always an outsider, my accent mangled, my ideas laughed at. But bitterness became an iron inside me, stronger than hunger. I remembered every face from that hall, every dismissive laugh, every crumb of kindness. Every time my father averted his eyes rather than watch me break. It sat beneath my breastbone as I stitched. I sent entries to the contest year after year, rejection after rejection. Each slip felt like a stinging slap from back home, but I kept sending them, kept pinching centimes to buy fabric remnants or thread, kept my calluses fresh with midnight work. It was another humid Parisian spring when my design, sharp, asymmetrical, silk the color of faded morning sky, caught the judge's eyes. I won, not first, but mention spéciale. Suddenly, my phone rang with invitations. Editors wanted interviews. A small house hired me to create a capsule collection. I tasted the victory as something both sweet and sad. I should have wanted to tell my mother, my community, to show them. See, I was not delusional. But for a long time I did not write. The anger that pushed me forward soured into a hard, quiet serenity. I changed apartments. I learned to walk in Parisian rain without shrinking. My accent softened, then sharpened. I became Sofia Diaz, signature now on labels in boutiques from Montmartre to Milan. Invitations came then too. Home for Christmas, for my mother's birthday, for my cousin Leandro's wedding. I ignored each one, writing polite regrets. Anger cooled, nested somewhere deep and implacable, no longer sharp enough to motivate, but too thick to allow forgiveness. 8 years passed. I was 30 by the time the letter arrived, written in my father's careful copperplate. Mama's illness is worse. Please come home. 3 sentences at the end. She asks about you every day. The old parish hall is being rededicated. Maybe you could visit. Just once. I reread those lines beneath my kidney-shaped lamp, Paris rain spattering the window. I set the letter aside for a day, then 2, then a week, and then I booked a flight. The decision more fatigue than longing, more resignation than hope. I landed in Ezeiza under a bruised sky. The scent of engine fuel mixing with sweet grass. Buenos Aires had changed, but not beyond recognition. Neighborhoods cleaner, street vendors selling new imports, but the old corner cafe remained, its windows fogged with decades of gossip. At the house, I hugged my mother, now hollowed by illness, but still fierce behind the eyes. My father stood beside her, older but unchanged in his silences. I expected awkwardness, but found only a kind of tired peace. My mother gripped my wrists. "Still no rings on your fingers?" she joked, hoarse. It settled me somehow. In the days that followed, I walked the old streets, brushed the gate where neighbors gathered, bought pastries at the panaderia where the owner asked, "Ah, Sofia, volviste?" and stared uncomprehending at my expensive coat. The invitations came almost immediately. "Will you come to the parish for the rededication? Father Pablo will say a few words." I agreed, out of politeness, out of something like fatigue. No one expected much, really. Even now, I could read their looks. The one who left, the one with big ideas, where did that get her? The rededication fell on a shimmering Sunday. Sun spilled through stained glass, dragging color over rusted metal chairs and peeling paint. People gathered in knots, passing mate and quiet jokes. My family sat front and center. I wore a dress of my own making, subtle, navy, structured. No one seemed to notice. Father Pablo read psalms. He welcomed returning families, new children. Mid-sermon, I felt eyes on me. The girls who ran through the aisles no longer remembered me, but their mothers did. Señor Almada, grayer now, arched an eyebrow from his seat near the door. Afterwards came empanadas and juice in the faded hall. Women from my girlhood drew closer, lips pursed, eyes curious but reserved. "So, Paris, eh?" Aunt Nieves said, her tone sharp-edged but not unkind. "Still sewing, or have you come home for good?" The hall began to hush, ears tipped toward me. I felt the old anger rising hot, childish, ready to snap. Instead, I shrugged. A little of both. Rosita, now 18, sidled up, cheeks flushed. "Do you really make this dress?" She touched the hem. "It's amazing." I smiled, the serenity now practiced. "I did." Nieves sniffed. "Very nice. But you know, fashion is for, well, rich people, not like us." I might have let it go. I might have nodded, agreed, slipped away. Instead, a stubbornness filled me. "Would you like to see something?" I pulled a folded magazine from my bag. Vogue Italia, the May issue. I'd almost torn it up before leaving Paris, afraid it might seem like showing off, afraid it wouldn't matter here, afraid nothing would be enough. But now I flattened the glossy cover on the table. There, page 44, Sofia Diaz, Buenos Aires' own, capturing Parisian imagination. And below it, sprawling photographs of my collection tailored coats, slanted